Hello, this is Gabrielle Moore, and this is a brief presentation about how we make meaning through intercultural communication. So, I went back to finish my undergrad degree in 2019 at the age of 47, a degree that I had started many, many years prior, almost a different lifetime ago. The first few semesters back, all of my classes were online, so I could interact with my professors and fellow students from the comfort and anonymity of my own home. In the spring of 2020, I had my first in person class, Relational Leadership, taught by Tom Lundgren. It was on Wednesday nights on the third floor of the education building. I really don't think the word nervous fully captures how I felt walking into that classroom for the first time. I knew that I would be the same age as most of the parents of my fellow students. I even was more certain that I would do something wrong or something clumsy or humiliating and make myself look old or stupid. My internal narrative was not very helpful. Not only am I an introvert, I'm Gen X. So these people aren't even millennials, like the next generation. They are two generations away from me. How would I ever fit in or belong? Although I didn't have the lingo yet, I was worried about not having any shared cultural starting points with my fellow classmates. In my mind's eye, this is how I saw myself walking into class on the first day. Super uncomfortable. When the first day of class finally came, I was trying on every outfit I had. I stressed about what students bring to class nowadays because the last time I was in class, you brought your backpack and your books. There weren't laptops to bring to class. So, um, do I bring my computer? I didn't know. Can I take notes on note paper or is that stupid? Oh Lord, what if I have to bring out my reading glasses? I just had no idea what to expect. As you might have suspected, the reality was a little less dramatic. To my surprise, there were a few people over the age of 30, even a few over 40. Although I was probably the oldest person in the classroom, including the instructor, I was soothed by the diversity that I found. But I still had to find the inner fortitude to talk to these people around me. As many students do on the first day of class, we all sat in silence staring at our phones until Tom started the class. He was wise and he paired us up with new people for every activity or lesson we worked on. Each new pairing, I tried to be curious about the other person and practice active listening. Meeting new people is scary, even at my age. When placed with a new partner in class, we always spend a few minutes getting to know each other before digging into the assignment. This is an example of working through the ABCs of cultural intelligence. First, you acquire knowledge about the person or people you're uncomfortable with. This might mean something as simple as asking a question about where they're from. When I would ask my classmates where they were from, this allowed me to show interest and sometimes ask another question. Over time, I was able to contemplate and use their answers to form a general understanding of their culture. Once I had some level of comfort with my classmates, I was able to feel more comfortable letting my own guard down and being myself, but always aware of whose company I was in. I am a natural empath, which makes me more sensitive to the moods or feelings of others around me. I wish that I could say that each person in that class was as equally curious about me as I was about them, but that wasn't the case. This happens to me a lot. I show a lot of curiosity and I try to find common ground with people I meet. But this kind of communication is only possible if both parties are emotionally and socially intelligent. This week, our author quotes Christopher Early and Randall Peterson, who define emotional intelligence as one's ability and capacity to identify, assess, and manage one's emotions as well as others. Daniel Goldman defines social intelligence as the ability and capacity to sense one's inner state, feelings, and thoughts in relation to one's social environment and act appropriately. Hmm. With each class meeting, there was a little more talking before class. It started kind of hushed and whispered, but with each week, the conversation before class got a little louder and a little more animated. I slowly began feeling like I belonged. I actually got to the point where I didn't dread class. In fact, I started looking forward to it. But in March of 2020, COVID numbers started climbing and we were forced to go remote. For me, remote learning is bittersweet. At first, I appreciated it because it leveled the playing field for me a little bit with regards to age. But I realized in person learning and getting to know other students is so much easier in a classroom, and it's lasting. It means more. In the end, I met some really interesting people in that class, and while I did not find that I had much in common with many of them, we still found common ground and camaraderie. It ended up being one of my favorite classes, in part because of the interaction I had with my classmates. All in all, I took 26 classes from the time I went back to school. I met dozens, if not hundreds, of new people along the way. Each one had their own unique story. This was the hardest, most uncomfortable, and most rewarding personal accomplishment of my life. The author of Leading with Cultural Intelligence, David Livermore, compares the journey towards cultural intelligence to a labyrinth. He says, "It is not a maze, rather, it is a journey that brings you to a deeper awareness of yourself and your place in the world. In a labyrinth, you find yourself walking around short curves, long curves, around edges of the circle, getting close to the center. Careful listening and the willingness to take risks and to challenge yourself lead you to a transformation. When you look at the labyrinth as a metaphor for your cultural intelligence journey, you'll see that your path is sometimes shared with others, and at times it is yours alone." Thank you.